All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Rightio, legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today I thought we'd answer some more questions. But before I do that, if you guys haven't already subscribed, jump down there, smash that subscribe button. And if you hit that little bell icon as well, you'll never miss any of my clips again. All right, well, let's get into it. So, Big Chungus 237 says, "Hey Biff, you should do a video on the origin of your nickname Biff." All right, good question, mate. Let's get right into it. All right, so I actually received this nickname my very first sentence that I ever did. So when I was a kid growing up, my family used to call me Boof, and so getting this nickname in the end was actually quite funny, I thought. But anyway, I got this nickname on my very first sentence. So my very first sentence, I went through the whole cell process when this was back in the day when they could keep you in the cells for as long as they want. They changed it to 28 days and then I think they changed it to 14 days. But back in the day, you could literally do like 9, 10 weeks in the police cells. And this is exactly how long people were doing. And so at this time, I'd done like 19 days in the Benalla police cells. Now, I believe at the time this was the oldest police cells in Victoria. So the actual prison bit itself doesn't have a roof on it. Like your cell has a roof on it, but the whole courtyard bit on the outside doesn't have a roof on it. So it is fucking cold. And so, anyway, yeah, I was there for 19 days. They took me to Heidelberg. I was there for 9 days. And then they took me to the custody center. But as you can imagine, by this time, I was pretty pissed off and just wanted to get to prison. Even though it was my first time, I just knew that I wanted to get out of the cells where I was, and I just knew that it was horrible. And of course, I was nervous. It was my first time in prison. I was nervous. I was in there with big dudes that were a lot bigger than me, a lot older than me. I'd only just turned 18 years old, and yeah, like I was nervous. Like I'm not afraid to admit it that I was a little bit nervous, a little bit scared. It was my first time. Now, I think that people say that when people say that they weren't nervous on their first time in prison, like they're just absolute shit talkers. Like anyone that tells you that, it's an absolute lie. They're like people that tell you that tattoos don't hurt. Of course, tattoos hurt. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just a hero thing. But anyway, so I was quite pissed off, quite nervous, and by this time I'd already been in the custody center for I believe 2 maybe 3 days, and so on this particular day, this new guy had got there. As I don't know if I've made mention of this before, but people come and go all day, every day at the custody center and at most prisons as well. So people are coming and going all the time. And so this guy had only just got there that day. He was a pretty big guy. He was much older than me. I was only 18. He would have been about 30 something. Pretty big guy, and could tell like he was a bit of a dickhead, was walking around like he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder and was trying to get people to like realize that he was tough or whatever. And all it was doing was making him look like a dickhead, like he was walking around bridging up with his chest out, like, and people don't appreciate that kind of behavior in prison. Do you know what I mean? Like walking around thinking that you are a sick, see you next Tuesday is won't be tolerated. You have to show people that you are what you say you are. And if you aren't what you say you are, people are going to put you to the test. If you say you're a tough fucker, people are going to put you to the test. But anyway, on this day, I am literally just sitting there minding my own business. And so this was back when the police used to run the custody center too. So like it's run by the screws now, so it's like a prison. But back in the day, it used to be run by the police. The Victoria Police used to run the custody center, and rules there were a lot different. But anyway, I had been sentenced from court. So I was locked up in my court gear. So I'm in the custody center and I'm just in my court gear. So I've got like a nice shirt on, some slacks, and I've got some court shoes on. And I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the early 2000s, late 90s, like shoes with big soles on them for some reason were really, really popular. And so I remember these shoes had a pretty big sole on them. They were a leather pair of shoes. And anyway, I'm just kicking back with these shoes, just kicking back, doing my thing. And anyway, this bloke walks up to me and he tells me, this is his exact words. He's like, "Hey, kid, kick over them shoes." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, just kick over those shoes, kid." And I was like, What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Mate, just kick me over your shoes." And I'm thinking, like, nah, bro, like this ain't happening to me. So obviously, I was told I come from a family where, unfortunately, a lot of people have been to prison, generations actually. And so obviously, I was warned about this and was always told that never let anybody stand over you, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter what weapons they've got. Don't ever let anyone stand over you. And so I straight up just said, "Nah, bro, you can't have my shoes." Now, thinking back, looking back, I was probably a little bit out of line, like, and I didn't know what I'm about to tell you. So I straight away said, "No, you can't have my shoes, bro." And so he's getting all up. So I stand straight up and I'm like, "All right, you can take my shoes then." And so anyway, I lean over, I start taking my shoe off. I grab my shoe in my hand and I grab it so the sole of the shoe is facing outwards. I've got it in my palm like this, and I'm just launched up from down and like so with the upward motion just went boof straight under the jaw, clipped him straight under the jaw, sent him flying onto his back. I just jumped on him with this shoe and started like beating him, and like literally was that nervous and that scared because it was my first time in prison. This guy, it looked like he'd done plenty of prison to me, and I was like, this guy's going to get up and fuck me up. So yeah, I just fucked this dude up and like literally threw the shoe down and then just continued to pummel this guy. Now, I'm not condoning this behavior, guys. I'm absolutely not condoning this behavior. I'm just telling you how I got my nickname. And so, yeah, not condoning it, but this is exactly what happened. So I literally, I hit this guy that many times. He thought he was surrounded, like I always say. And yeah, I literally did not stop punching this guy. I'm giving this guy lefts and rights, and I'm getting tired. Like I'm literally going, whoa, ugh, and this guy's out. There's claret everywhere. Anyway, the screws come running in. And so, what I was also taught by these people was that never ever let an officer put their hands on you. If an officer puts their hands on you, that gives you permission to put hands on them. And so, anyway, I'm like feeding this guy. The cops come in and they're like literally trying to rip me off this guy, and then I'm just straight into it with one of the cops. Bang, just throwing hands. He's throwing hands with me. I'm gassed, but like I've just literally been punching the shit out of this guy for 2 or 3 minutes. I'm fully gassed. Start throwing swingers at this cop. The cop starts throwing them back. We're going at it. Next thing you know, I'm getting smashed on the ground. Everyone's getting locked in their cells, and I am getting pepper sprayed to the shit house. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but the police in the police cells have the riot pepper spray, which is like a fucking fire extinguisher. So I'm on the ground. These guys are handcuffing me. They're kicking the fucking shit out of me, and they're spraying me with this fucking fire extinguisher of a bloody pepper spray. And so, anyway, they end up like wrecking me. Like they punched the absolute shit out of me, kicked the shit out of me. They were kicking me, punching me, kneeing me, everything. Like number one thing that I fucked up. You know what I mean? I put my hands on them first, but still, I proved to them that I wasn't going to let them put their hands on me, even though they fucking pummeled me. It is what it is. But when they were dragging me out, this is where the nickname come from. So someone yelled out, "Bring back the Biff." So I don't know if you guys remember back in the early 2000s, late 1990s, the NRL had this "Bring back the Biffs" thing. And anyway, so everyone started screaming it, "Bring back the Biff, bring back the Biff, bring back the Biff." And I was like pumped. I was like, yeah. And so anyway, I get slotted at the custody center and they send me straight to the map. I do one night in the slot at the custody center and then they send me straight to the map. I do 2 nights in the slot. Keep in mind, this is my first sentence. I haven't even made it to an actual prison yet, and I'm already in the fucking slot for having a punch on. So, anyway, I spend 2 nights in the slot. I get out and I come out into the yard, and I can't explain what this is like. Like walking out into the map when they bring you out, for coming from the slot through the elevator. You walk up the stairs out into the yard, and I was just like, fucking wow, look at this. There's like dead set blokes training, like about 10 blokes in a row, all doing the same push ups, all doing the same training, running up and down, doing squats, doing burpees, doing all this shit. I was like, holy shit. And so, anyway, I'm getting the officer walk me to what unit I was in. I was sent to unit 2, which is where a lot of people go when you first get to the map. And then, yeah, everyone just started saying, oh, there's Biff, and coming up and shaking my hand. And a lot of people were thanking me because this guy was actually a jail bully and was actually, a lot of people had enough of his bullshit. And so, but it turns out the actual truth of the thing was, so I ran into this guy a couple of years down the track. And so he came up and told me, he's like, look, bro, I don't want any drama. I don't want any drama. He's like, but all I was asking was, can I please borrow your court shoes? Because I was going to court. And I was like, well, you didn't say that. You were like, hey, kid, kick your shoes over. And he's like, yeah, I probably should have worded it different. I was like, bro, I thought you were standing over me. Like, I'm a kid. It's my first time in prison. I didn't know. You're big and scary looking. You're covered in tattoos. I was like, bro, you're going to eat me alive. So that's why I did what I did. But I thought it was funny that he approached me afterwards and said that he was only asking to borrow them for court. But what was really funny is that name stuck with me. And then, like, a couple of the older boob heads, we call them boob heads. I don't even know where the origin of that come from, but I know in other countries they call prison heads boob heads, but a couple of the old boob heads said that, what BIFF stands for, yeah. And I was like, no, I've got no idea. And they was like, it stands for best in fist fighting. So you being able to keep your name like that in prison proves a lot, you know what I mean? And I was like, damn. And this was the older dude saying that to me. And so, like, I took a lot of pride in that, them saying that to me. And so I took it upon myself to make sure that, well, I did my utmost best to not lose a fight in prison. And I didn't lose any one-on-one fights in prison. I did get pumped in Scarborough South. I made the video about that where I got stabbed, but that was by 10 people. I can't take on 10 men, although I was stupid enough to try and actually thought that I would probably come out better, but I got stabbed. But anyway, that's how I got my nickname. That is the origin of my nickname. I thought that was an awesome, awesome question. So I thought, yeah, definitely make a video for that one. But if you guys are watching this and you guys have got a question you'd like me to answer with a video, chuck it down in the comment section. I'll do my utmost best to answer it with a video. I always answer all my comments anyway. It does take me a while to get around to a lot of them, but I do answer most questions. And also, once again, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. The page is moving along really, really well at the moment. And yeah, a lot of things are happening. And yeah, so I actually went to Melbourne and done some filming in Richmond. I will post some of the footage to my page, but all right, learn a mistake. I did film a lot of it with my GoPro, and it was in time lapse. So a lot of it is in like turbo mode. It's in fast forward. You can't hear nothing, but the footage is still there. It was a lesson learned, but I am going back to Melbourne next week. We're going to some of the highest crime rated um, suburbs in Melbourne. And so we're going to be having a walk around and having a look and see what it's all about and see why these places have the highest crime rate. And so that's a different avenue what we're starting to go in now. So keep your eye out. I will drop a video this week of my trip. I went to Richmond. I wanted to check out the injection gallery there where people can go and shoot up and, you know, and I wanted to get like a local opinion from locals what they thought of the shooting gallery and the fact that Richmond North Primary School is actually right next to the shooting gallery. And like they often find and have found a few times bodies in the primary school that kids have found. And so I wanted to ask what the community thought about the shooting gallery, and you would actually be quite surprised about the answers. But unfortunately, the people, when I asked them, it was all in time lapse. So I will post the stuff that I um, didn't film on time lapse, but a lot of it will be on time lapse. So just a heads up. But yeah, back to Melbourne next week to do some more filming. So yeah, watch this space, guys. There's so much good stuff coming, interviews, everything that's happened. It's all happening on this page. All right, guys. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. Don't do drugs and crime, and you won't end up in prison.
The chaos